I woke up today with a sentence burning in my mind, a sentence that I know can either open the gates of abundance or seal them shut before the sun even rises. And the strange part is this: most people speak their destiny into existence before they even taste their first sip of coffee, yet they have no idea they're doing it. That's why I need you to do something simple, almost childlike, but deeply revealing. Write in the comments the first phrase you usually say when you wake up. Don't overthink it, just write it. Because once you see your own words outside of your mind, you'll recognize patterns you never noticed, and you'll understand why certain doors never opened for you. There is a truth I once resisted, but it kept returning until I finally surrendered to it. Your morning sets your fate. Not symbolically, not metaphorically, practically, energetically, spiritually.
I learned this from a lineage older than my own fears. They taught me that the very first breath after sleep is a doorway, and whatever crosses your lips in that fragile moment becomes a command to the universe. Some commands attract, some repel, and some, those quiet little phrases we think don't mean anything, freeze our lives in place. Imagine this: the world is still silent, your soul is half here and half elsewhere, and one tiny sentence decides whether the day will flow toward wealth, opportunity, and expansion, or whether it will collapse under the weight of invisible resistance. Most people don't believe that words carry that kind of force until they watch their lives echo the exact tone of their vocabulary. And the truth is, you've already felt this. You've had mornings when one careless phrase colored the entire day with heaviness.
And mornings when a single spark of gratitude changed your whole rhythm. You already know this power. You just forgot. There was a time when I also forgot. I used to wake up and let life happen to me instead of speaking life into motion. I didn't understand how dangerous neutrality can be, how deadly autopilot becomes. And so my mornings were filled with vague, empty phrases that seemed harmless, but they were the reason my progress stalled, my finances stagnated, and my energy dimmed. Only later did I understand the law I had been violating without knowing it, the same law I am about to reveal to you. But before we reach that doorway, before we dive into the teachings that reshaped my destiny, I need you to see why your words matter more than your effort, your plans, or even your discipline.
Because the forces that respond to your voice at dawn do not negotiate, do not interpret, do not soften your intentions. They follow your first declaration with absolute precision. And that is why the ritual I am about to share with you must be done before your coffee, before your mind wakes fully, before your defenses return. Because there is one single mistake nearly everyone makes in those first moments, and it is quietly destroying their chance at unlimited wealth. There is an ancient belief, one whispered through generations, that the first words spoken in the morning are not merely expressions, but seeds. And like every seed, they contain a blueprint, a destiny, a future folded tightly inside their sound. In Jewish wisdom, they say that a word is never just a word, it is an act of creation. And I grew up hearing this truth without fully grasping its weight, until life forced me to revisit it with reverence instead of curiosity. They taught me that the world we walk into each morning is shaped by the echo of the world we spoke moments before opening our eyes. My great-grandfather, may his memory be a blessing, discovered this in the harshest way. He was a man of discipline, of work, of faith, but even he underestimated the spiritual physics of language. For 3 mornings in a row, during a time of stress and uncertainty, he woke up muttering the same phrase: "It will have to do." Harmless, he thought. Neutral. But neutrality is never neutral. On the 3rd day, a chain of losses unfolded so precisely that even he, a man not easily shaken, felt the universe answering his resignation.
His business contracts dissolved, a shipment was delayed, and an unexpected debt surfaced. 3 blows in 3 days, each mirroring the tone of his own surrender. This is when he taught our family a distinction I never forgot. There are words that open and words that close, and most people choose the closing ones without realizing it. They believe they're being practical, humble, realistic, when in truth, they are telling the universe they have stopped expanding. And the moment you declare that you have enough, or that you are fine,
or that things are good enough. The flow of abundance interprets it literally. Some people wake and say, "I'm okay," believing it's a harmless placeholder. Others wake and groan, "Another day," not realizing they're scripting their next 12 hours of stagnation. But then there are those rare individuals who rise, whispering, "Thank God," and somehow opportunities cling to them like light. The difference isn't luck, it's language. And here is the contrast that should make you pause. Two people can live the same routine, work the same hours, face the same challenges, yet one expands and the other remains trapped simply because of what they declare upon waking. Words are invisible architecture. They shape the day before the day shapes you. But there is something even more unsettling, something most people never realize until it's too late. There are 3 fatal morning mistakes that quietly sabotage wealth, and almost everyone commits at least one of them. The second mistake, the one I will reveal soon, is especially dangerous because it disguises itself as success. And once you see it, once you recognize how subtle and destructive it is, you will never wake up the same way again. The first fatal error is deceptively simple, almost gentle in its disguise, saying, "I'm fine," the moment you wake up. It sounds innocent, doesn't it? A small phrase, a placeholder, a quick way to move into the day. But every time those words slip out of your mouth, you unintentionally declare to the universe that nothing else is needed, nothing else should come, nothing else must grow. "I'm fine" is the linguistic equivalent of closing a door softly. Quiet, polite, but final. The danger hides in its familiarity. You've said it. I've said it. My great-grandfather said it. And at first, it feels like a shield, a way to avoid complaining, a way to stay outwardly composed. But spiritually, psychologically, energetically, it sends a message of completion. And completion, when spoken too early, becomes stagnation. The universe delivers abundance to those who leave space open, not to those who announce they already have enough. Imagine waking up with dreams still warm in your mind, possibilities hovering around you like unclaimed blessings. And then, before anything can reach you, you tell life, "No need, I'm fine." It's like a farmer standing in a vast open field, soil rich and ready. But instead of planting seeds, he whispers, "This is enough land." The potential vanishes before the work even begins. I once watched this unfold in the life of a neighbor, a man named Elias. For years he lived modestly but steadily, always on the edge of something greater. Then one season, everything began to shift for him. New clients, unexpected opportunities, invitations he had waited for. But with each success, he woke up more often saying the same phrase.
"I'm fine. Things are fine." He thought he was expressing gratitude, humility even. But within 3 days, only 3, those opportunities began to slip. A client backed out. A payment was delayed. A partnership fell through. Not because of fate or misfortune, but because Elias unknowingly announced to the universe that he needed nothing more. That is the hidden cost of the phrase. When your words say you're full, abundance believes you. The consequence is not always dramatic at first. Sometimes it begins subtly. Slower progress, muted inspiration, fewer chances appearing. But when repeated morning after morning, the effect compounds. The energy of wealth responds less and less. Doors that were once open narrow. A sense of heaviness replaces flow. And all of it begins with a sentence spoken half asleep, unaware of its power.
This is why the first error is so dangerous. It doesn't frighten you. It doesn't shock you. It doesn't feel wrong. It feels normal. But the most damaging habits are always the ones that blend into the background of our routine. And yet, this is only the beginning, because behind this simple mistake lies a deeper law, an ancient principle that governs the movement of blessings. And once we step into that realm, the second error, the one almost no one recognizes, becomes even more critical to understand. There is a teaching in the Talmud that once felt cryptic to me, almost poetic, until life itself revealed its edge. Be cautious when speaking of fullness, for the one who declares himself full receives no more.
At first glance, it sounds like a warning wrapped in metaphor, but it is far more literal than most realize. In spiritual psychology, the morning is considered a vessel not yet filled, a sacred emptiness ready to be shaped. And when you speak too quickly of being fine, you unintentionally seal that vessel before a single drop of blessing can enter. What the sages meant was simple. Abundance flows only where there is perceived space. The moment you say you have enough, whether you believe it or not, your words act as a signal to the unseen forces that guide opportunity. They hear contentment not as gratitude, but as closure. They withdraw, respectfully, because you told them you were complete. Translated into daily life, this becomes strikingly clear. When you wake and say, "I'm fine," your mind follows that declaration. Your brain shifts into maintenance mode instead of growth mode. Creativity slows. Initiative weakens. You begin living the day as though it were a repeat of yesterday, instead of the doorway to something new. This is not laziness, it is programming. And the programming begins with a phrase spoken in those fragile seconds right after sleep. Imagine a cup filled right to the brim, so full that even a single additional drop would spill over the edge. That is what happens to the spirit when we speak fullness too soon. The universe sees a cup incapable of receiving, and so it withholds, not as punishment, but as alignment. A full vessel has no room for miracles. But the most powerful moment in this entire teaching comes from self-recognition. So pause, truly pause, and ask yourself, where in your life are you pretending things are fine when they are not? Not out of deception, but out of habit. Where are you using "I'm fine" to avoid admitting hunger for more? Where are you using it to protect yourself from vulnerability or disappointment or the fear of wanting too much? Because the universe does not respond to masks, it responds to truth. And if you are silently craving expansion but verbally declaring stagnation, your life will follow your words, not your desires. This is why acknowledging the first error matters so deeply. Once you see how it blocks the flow, you can begin to feel the subtle tightening around your own dreams. The sense of limitation you thought was external was often internal, spoken by your own voice before the day even began. Yet there is another mistake, more cunning, more seductive, and far more dangerous. It doesn't appear as resignation. It appears as victory. And it deceives even the strongest, the most disciplined, the most spiritually aware. It is the second error, the one that has derailed countless destinies right at the edge of breakthrough. The second mistake hides in triumph, waiting quietly for the moment you feel safest. It appears not when you are struggling, but when you are rising. And that is why so few people recognize it until the damage is already done. The second fatal error is this: letting your guard down, believing you have already won. It sounds harmless, natural even. After all, isn't it human to relax when things finally begin to work? But in the spiritual architecture of abundance, early relaxation is not rest, it is regression. I once heard an old saying whispered like a joke but carried like a warning. A sleeping crocodile becomes a handbag. People laugh at the image, but its truth hits with force. The moment you stop moving, the moment you stop stretching, the moment you say, "I've made it," life does not freeze with you. Life keeps flowing, and anything that remains still in a moving river gets overtaken. Abundance requires motion. Wealth responds to momentum, not memory. The psychology beneath this error is incredibly precise. When you ease up too soon, your brain interprets it as completion. It stops scanning for new possibilities. It stops connecting dots that lead to opportunity. A part of your inner system whispers, "We're done," and the rest of your being obeys that command. You drift into a quiet stagnation disguised as peace, but built on complacency. The tragic part is that this shift is so subtle you don't feel it happening. Days pass smoothly, and you think all is well. But beneath the surface, the flow of growth is slowing, tightening, narrowing. I once watched a young entrepreneur fall into this trap. After months of struggle, he finally secured consistent income. He celebrated, as he should. But the next morning, something changed.
He woke later. He skipped the ritual that had sustained him. He whispered, "I deserve to rest," which was true, but it was also premature. Within a few weeks, opportunities that once knocked regularly became scarce. His clarity dimmed, his excitement weakened, not because he failed, but because he stopped expanding the moment progress appeared. The illusion of victory became his downfall. And this is the moral core of the second error. The universe does not reward completion, it rewards continuation. When you keep stretching, keep becoming, keep leaning forward, abundance meets you with open hands.
But when you relax too deeply into your success, life assumes you are satisfied and redirects its gifts elsewhere. Energy goes where there is hunger, not where there is comfort. So you must ask yourself, with honesty and without fear, where have you mistaken progress for arrival? Where have you allowed comfort to replace curiosity? Where did you stop growing because you believed you had grown enough? These questions matter because the deeper we go into the laws that govern wealth, the more obvious it becomes that the most dangerous mistake is the third one, the one that doesn't disguise itself as neutrality or victory, but as truth. A truth so seductive that millions believe it, without realizing it is the very lie that keeps abundance just out of reach. The third mistake is the most dangerous of all, because it doesn't come dressed as resignation or pride. It arrives wearing the mask of wisdom, the gentle smile of acceptance, the soothing tone of spiritual maturity. It is a lie disguised as enlightenment. The third fatal error is this: believing that everything is already perfect, that nothing needs to change, that growth is optional. It sounds peaceful, doesn't it? Almost noble. But this belief, repeated quietly each morning, becomes a silent assassin of abundance. You've heard people say it with conviction. Everything is exactly as it should be. And while there is comfort in that idea, there is also paralysis. Because if everything is perfect, then why seek more? Why expand? Why ask, create, transform, or dream? Perfection leaves no room for evolution. And the universe, by its very nature, responds to movement. It widens for those who reach, not for those who settle into spiritual stillness, disguised as acceptance. When you wake up and whisper to yourself, "It's all perfect," you may think you're expressing gratitude, but what you're truly doing is declaring completion. You close the energetic channels that invite new blessings. You freeze your potential in place. You step into the day not as a creator, but as a spectator. I once came across a study conducted in Israel that startled me with its precision. Researchers observed a group of individuals over several months and found a pattern too sharp to ignore. People who frequently repeated phrases of static acceptance: "Everything's perfect," "It's all already enough," "Nothing needs to change," experienced on average a 12% decrease in income over time. Not because they were less skilled or less disciplined, but because their mindset unconsciously restricted expansion. Their words told their brains to stop looking for upward movement. And when the mind stops searching, opportunities stop appearing. This is the hidden horror of the third mistake. It makes you feel wise while quietly dismantling your future. The truth is this: nothing is ever completely perfect, and that is the miracle of being alive. There is always a new layer to uncover, a new skill to sharpen, a new blessing to call in. Expansion is not greed. Expansion is obedience to the divine design of growth. To wake up and declare perfection is to deny the very purpose of your spirit, to evolve. But here is the light emerging from the end of the shadow. If your words can limit you, they can also liberate you. And the moment you choose new language, the moment you speak in alignment with possibility rather than closure, the universe responds instantly. Your destiny shifts. Your path opens. Doors that seemed sealed begin to move. Because those who change their morning vocabulary change the frequency of their entire lives. And now, having exposed the 3 hidden mistakes, we step into the revelation you've been moving toward from the very first moment. The simple morning formula, 3 words and 1 intention, that has unlocked wealth for thousands, including me, and will do the same for you if spoken before your first sip of coffee. From the very beginning of this journey, we have been circling around a secret woven into the quiet moments before sunrise,
a key that only works when used before your coffee, before your defenses return, before your mind rebuilds the walls it learned to carry. Now we finally arrive at the heart of it, the formula that opens the doors to wealth every single morning. It is simple, humble, and astonishingly powerful. Thank God I am working, and I am growing.
3 movements: gratitude, action, expansion, woven into one declaration that resets your entire destiny. Let me show you why these words carry such force. The first phrase, thank God, is more than politeness. It is an alignment. Gratitude tunes your spirit to abundance. It tells the universe, I recognize the blessings already in motion, and that recognition magnetizes more. A grateful heart is not passive, it is receptive. It creates a field where opportunities feel welcome, where guidance has space to enter. The second movement, I am working, grounds your gratitude in action. You are not merely hoping for wealth, you are moving toward it. Spiritual power requires human partnership. When you declare that you are working, you remind your brain to activate its forward momentum. You become alert. You start scanning for possibilities again.
You lean into the world instead of waiting for it to lean into you. And the final movement, I am growing, is the antidote to the third fatal lie. Growth is not a byproduct. It is a choice. By speaking this sentence aloud each morning, you tell the universe that you are not complete, not finished, not sealed. There is room in your vessel. There is hunger in your spirit. There is space for more. And the universe rushes to fill that space with whatever matches your intention. This formula works because it harmonizes the 3 forces that govern prosperity: humility, effort, and expansion. Without gratitude, effort becomes anxiety. Without effort, gratitude becomes stagnation. Without growth, both collapse into repetition. But when all 3 are spoken together, they create a current strong enough to reshape your life. To anchor this shift, I want you to perform a simple act.
Set an alarm on your phone. Choose 9 o'clock in the morning. When it rings, stop whatever you are doing and repeat the formula. Thank God I am working and I am growing. Speak it with breath, with intention, with the quiet authority of someone rewriting their own future. This daily interruption creates a neurological imprint. It reminds your spirit of the direction it has chosen. It keeps your vessel open, your momentum alive, and your awareness awake. Because wealth does not arrive through force, it arrives through alignment. And as you begin to practice this ritual, something remarkable happens. You start noticing small shifts, tiny openings, unexpected invitations, moments where life seems to lean toward you rather than away. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. And soon, you will see why this formula has transformed lives far beyond theory.
Because real people, ordinary and extraordinary alike, have rewritten their stories using these exact words. I want to tell you about a woman named Lucia, a name that means the one who carries light. And for most of her life, that light flickered in silence, soft, hesitant, almost afraid of being seen. She lived years in a cycle of scarcity so subtle that she came to believe it was simply her fate. Bills paid in the final hour, opportunities slipping just before they landed, moments of hope dissolving into routine. She wasn't unhappy, but she wasn't expanding. She woke each morning whispering the same 3 quiet words: I'm doing okay. And like a spell cast without intention, those words shaped her reality. Then one day, she heard the formula you now hold in your hands. She didn't fully believe it at first. How could a sentence change what years of effort had not?
But something inside her, some small ember of longing, urged her to try. And so the next morning, before touching her phone, before checking the weather, before tasting her first sip of coffee, she placed her feet on the floor, felt the coolness of the earth beneath her, and whispered, Thank God I am working and I am growing. She expected nothing, but life hears truth, even when spoken softly. On that first day, she felt a shift, not a miracle, not fireworks, but a widening,
a sense that the world had more corners than she previously noticed. Her posture straightened, her mind sharpened. She approached her work with a quiet determination that had been missing for years. By the third day, a client who had disappeared months earlier contacted her unexpectedly. By the seventh, an opportunity she had long given up on resurfaced with better conditions than before.
And by the end of the first month, her income had increased in a way she had never experienced. Before the ritual, she lived in a steady drip of scarcity. After the ritual, abundance flowed not in torrents, but in steady, undeniable waves. The difference wasn't magic, it was alignment. She stopped beginning her days with a declaration of stagnation and started opening her mornings with an invitation for expansion. Her mind began seeking growth, and the universe began meeting her halfway. Lucia didn't become wealthy overnight, but she became open, receptive, in motion, and wealth is drawn to motion like rivers to the sea. And here lies the universal truth in her story. It does not matter if you are Jewish or Christian, spiritual or skeptical, wealthy or struggling. The principle is the same for every soul. Words create openings. Words build pathways.
Words signal the universe about the direction you are willing to grow. Whether or not you name the divine, the energy responds. Lucia became living proof that a morning ritual, simple, intentional, spoken before the world distracts you, can rewrite a destiny that once seemed fixed. And if she could transform her path with one sentence, whispered each dawn, then you can too. Because the power was never in her circumstances, it was always in her voice. From the moment we began this journey, one truth has been unfolding like a thread woven through every chapter. Words create worlds. This is not metaphor. It is the heartbeat of creation itself. In the Jewish tradition, it is said that God spoke the universe into being. Light appeared because it was called. Oceans divided because they were named. Life emerged because breath met language.
And if the divine uses words as instruments of creation, how could our own words carry anything less than creative force? Everything you've seen, your victories, your stagnations, your breakthroughs, your delays, has roots in declarations you once made without noticing. The moment you say, "I'm fine," the moment you say, "I guess that's enough," the moment you whisper, "Maybe this is just how life is," your world bends to accommodate that belief, not out of punishment, but out of alignment. The universe mirrors what you announce. But now you have a choice, a clear, conscious, powerful choice. Remain in the patterns that have kept your life predictable, or step into the language that makes your life expansive. Stagnation or growth, closure or openness, neutrality or creation.
This decision is not made once, it is made each dawn when your voice touches the silence before your thoughts fully awaken. And here is where practice becomes transformation. If you speak the morning formula for 7 days, 7 dawns where you begin with, "Thank God, I am working and I am growing," you will witness shifts that are impossible to ignore. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you are tuning yourself to receive what was always approaching. Opportunities that once passed unnoticed will become visible. Ideas you had buried will rise again with new breath. Your energy will feel less like survival and more like movement. 7 days may feel small, but in spiritual terms, 7 is a cycle of completion, a full turning of the inner wheel. It is enough time for the old patterns to crack and the new intention to take root.
You only need to be consistent, honest, and willing to grow. And once you complete these 7 days, something powerful happens. You recognize that wealth, true wealth, not just financial, follows a rhythm, a spiritual rhythm. It is the rhythm of expansion meeting readiness, of effort meeting blessing, of gratitude meeting opportunity. This rhythm does not belong to any single culture or belief system. It is woven into the fabric of being human. And as we reach the edge of this chapter, there is something more I must tell you. Something deeper than techniques, older than rituals, more transformative than formulas. Because behind every morning practice, behind every word of power, lies a principle so profound that it reshapes not only your wealth, but your entire understanding of purpose.
And that is the doorway we will walk through next. You've walked with me through the hidden traps, the ancient teachings, the quiet shifts of language that shape a destiny long before effort ever touches it. And now, as this journey draws to a close, it's time to gather everything into one clear truth. One truth simple enough to remember, powerful enough to transform the trajectory of anyone who dares to practice it. Never begin your day with words that shrink your world. Begin with words that open it. Do not wake saying, "I'm fine." Wake saying, "Thank God I am growing." This is the essence of everything we explored. Your morning is not a routine, it is a spiritual ignition. It is the moment when your voice sets the direction of your steps, when your intention whispers instructions to the universe. And the universe listens, not to your hopes, not to your fears, but to your declarations.
Say you are complete and life stops delivering. Say you are working and growing and life expands before you. Every chapter we uncovered, from the ancestral warnings to the psychological mechanisms, from the mistakes that close doors to the formula that opens them, points to a single understanding. Your words are your first act of creation each day. Before coffee, before thought, before habit, before the world pulls at your attention, your voice carves a path, and you walk the path you carve. So let this become your new anchor. Thank God I am growing. Growth is the soil of abundance. Growth is the antidote to stagnation. Growth is the sign to the universe that you remain open, willing, and aligned with your purpose. And when you consciously choose this path, blessings that once hesitated begin to approach with certainty.
As you step away from this video and into your own morning rituals, I leave you with the blessing that has crossed centuries and still carries the warmth of divine protection. May the Lord bless you and guard you. May His light shine upon you and grant you peace. Let these words rest on your day like a quiet shield, reminding you that you are never walking alone, that your growth is guided, that your efforts are seen. And now I ask you for something simple yet powerful, something that extends the energy we've created together. Share this message with 3 people who need it. Not as a task, not as an obligation, but as an act of generosity. When you help someone change the first words of their morning, you help them rewrite their future. And in doing so, you strengthen your own intention. Carry this ritual with you. Guard it. Practice it.
Let it reshape your mornings until abundance no longer feels distant, but natural, an echo responding to your voice. Thank God, you are working, you are growing.